Now that I have a basic group of curves to control the spine and the tail, I'm going to create a few controllers for controlling the feet, at least the basics of the feet. So I'm going to use this again a curve. In this case, I'm just going to bring this curve, snap it to the ankle joint, and I'm going to go to the side view, and I'm going to put it select by vertex and bring it down to be at the level of the foot. So by doing that, still the pivot point is on the ankle, but the controller itself is at the base of the foot. I'm going to squash a little bit here. I'm going to modify freeze transformation. That everything goes back to 0, but still the pivot point is where it's supposed to be. I'm going to duplicate that curve. This one is going to be called left foot. So L for left foot control. And then I'll duplicate that one. And with the double click, I'm going to just snap it to the other ankle. And then it's going to be right foot control. And again modify freeze transformations on that one, and let me do one for each one of the hands, or at least for the wrists. And I'm going to just go and say create a curve and go and place it with the snapping, snap it to that wrist joint, scale it down. I'm gonna rename this one left underscore wrist control. I'm gonna duplicate that one, and I'm gonna go snap it to the other wrist, and this one's gonna be called the right wrist control. I think I mistyped that. Wrist control. And this one's gonna be the left wrist control. There we go. So I got those, modify freeze transformations of those two. That way I have controllers for the feet. Now, these controllers need to drive the joints, and for doing that, we need to create a connection to the joint. So that instead of me selecting the joint, I need to go and be able to select the curve, and that way I can move the joint instead of having to look for the joint. And let me just scale this guys down a tiny bit. It's a little too large there. That way it's a bit more like the geometry. Again, I need to modify freeze transformation. Any change I do so that I keep that modify freeze transformation. Alright, so let's just make the connection. Let's start by connecting let's start from the outside in. So I'm going to start creating a, the way to do that is not a parent-child relationship, but a constrained relationship. Constrained relationships are kind of like a artificial connection between the two components without being part of the same hierarchy. Right now this joint is separate from it, and I wanted to maintain it separate from the joint hierarchy. So I'm going to select that controller, I'm going to shift select the joint, and in this case under the Regi menu set, I'm going to go under constraint, parent constraint. I'm going to open that one up. I need this controller to drive only the rotation of that joint, nothing else. That means I'm not going to use the translate. I'm going to apply that one. So now I can go and test this controller, and you'll see that this controller will be able to move that joint. Why I don't use the translate on that one? Because the translate of that joint is driven by the joint above it, and I need it to be that way. Now I'm going to do the same for all of them. Selecting first the parent, then the child. Let me do the head. I'm not going to do the root yet. uh, so I'm gonna start with the jaw. You need to do, every spare at a time. That way, um, they work. And oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake on this one. That is the constraint, by the way. Let me delete it. I'm gonna do it one more time. So first the parent, and then the child, and then apply. If you see it there, the constraint gets added to the specific object that is receiving, the one that is being driven, receives this node as a constraint. Right now, this one is connected to that joint right there. So I'm going to do this one to that one. First the parent, then the child. So the driver first and the driven second. This one I'm going to do slightly differently. This one is the root. So this one is going to be able to move the whole character. So for that, I'm going to make a relationship from that controller to the root joint. But this one, I needed to move the character up, back and forth. So I'm going to add rotation and translation on that one. That is the only the one that will receive that. So I'm going to apply that. So in that case, this one, if I move it, this character will go with it, but at the same time, it's going to rotate it. Okay, so of course they're somehow this one is rotating that one, and so on and so forth. So all of them are connected, but the rig scale cannot be moved. So why can I move it? Because if you see, for example, if I rotate this one and I try to rotate, that rotates everything, but the controllers that need to go underneath of it are not rotating. This guy is not rotating because this one is the one that drives the rotation. So you don't want it to be like this yet. What we need to do next is we need to generate a hierarchy on the controllers that matches the hierarchy of the joints. What do you mean by that? If I see the chain of my joint, let me look at that chain, for example. That chain, you see the hierarchy going on one inside of the other one as children and parent relationship. I need to do the same thing with these controllers. So I'm gonna go and look for them here. So that's a child. So that one has to be a child of this one. I'm gonna press P, same as if I was doing edit parent. So this guy becomes the parent of both, and you can see them one inside of the other one. And that one will be the child of this one, P, and that one will be the child of that one, P. Now, if I grab that one, I rotate, all of them will go with it, and all the joints will follow as well. So they will be able to work without a problem. Now let me do the other side. So I'm gonna make this one a child of the head controller, P, head controller a child of that one a child of that one, that one a child of that one, that one a child of that one, and the next one, and the next one. And now this one is the root, so both of them, this guy and that guy, will be children of the root. So that one will be a child of this one, P, and this one will be a child of this one, P. Now when I grab that one and I move it, the whole thing moves with it, and still this guy will rotate the whole character. Oh, I missed one connection going on. This guy has to be a child of that one. Let me test it one more time. So you are going to animate and pose your character using the controllers, not the joints. You see that I'm not selecting joints. I can even hide the joints, and I can still pose my character from the controllers, not the joints. So what happens to the arms and the legs? Well, the arms and the legs are a different case because we need those in order to control the the legs differently. So what I need to do is I need to do the same first in terms of this guy controlling this joint. So I'm going to create a constraint there, constraint. In that case, that constraint is going to be only on rotation, not on translation. That way this one will rotate that. So I'm going to apply that one. Let me do the same thing for the other foot. Apply that one. And same for the hands. So that one that's going to control the joints of the wrist, so that if I wanted to move his hands, you'll see his hand moving there. But I need to be able to manipulate the arm. So the arm manipulation or the leg manipulation will be, in this case, using an IK handle. So an IK handle, in the case you don't know, it's an inverse kinematic, IK for inverse kinematic, meaning the control will be inversed. Right now this is called forward kinematic, FK, because the movement is driven from the parent to the child, to the child, to the child. And inverse kinematic is going to be inversed. So from the child is going to be moving up everything. How do I do that? On the rigging, on the skeleton, there is this create IK handle. I'm going to open it up. And we're going to use this one, this is the rotate plate solver. So I'm going to just close the window there. I don't need to have it open. And I'm going to create a connection from what would be in this character, probably this joint to what would be kind of his ankle. So that ankle is going to create with the IK handle a way for me to manipulate the leg a little bit better. Now, additionally to that, I'm going to, the IK handle got saved here, so I'm going to rename that one. I'm going to call left foot IK handle. And that IK handle, I'm going to make it a child of this one, just by simply making it a child. So pressing the P key. So now if I grab this controller and I move it, I will move the leg, and still I will be able to position the leg a little bit better. That one is giving me a little bit of an issue with the back part there, so I need to fix that in a minute. Let me do the other leg first. And so I'm going to create an IK handle from that knee to this piece is. This guy is a little bit off in terms of the foot connection, but it should be okay. So that IK handle is going to be called the right foot IK handle. And I'm going to make it a child of this one by pressing P again. So now I can grab this one and move it back and forth to manipulate that foot. Okay, so there is one last thing that I'm going to do with the IK handle, is that IK handle is going to need to be maintained, the control of that, so that it doesn't go crazy when I rotate it. So what I'm going to do for that, I'm going to create a way, what's called a locator. I'm going to create a locator. There it is. I'm going to snap that locator to that joint right there where, let me show that's on the joint. I'm holding V key, snap to the joint, that way right there. I'm going to push it back. I'm going to just rename that one left foot pole vector, and I'll explain that in a minute. Pole vector. And that pole vector, I'm going to freeze transformation, modify freeze transformation, so go to 0, and now I'm going to select that pole vector. I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to do the same for the other foot. Make sure I do it on the side view. I'm going to move it back, and that one I'm going to rename it. It's going to be the right foot pole vector. And I'm going to modify freeze transformation again. So they have both arrows right behind that part of the leg. So what intention with that? I'm going to grab that, I'm going to select the IK handle. Here is first the locator, then the IK handle. I'm going to create under skeleton one thing called, no, I'm sorry, not on the skeleton, under constraint, one thing called a pole vector. So that makes the joint connected to the pole vector, so the pole vector will drive that joint always. I'm going to do the same thing with that guy. To this one, to the right foot, then constraint pole vector. So now I could try rotating this guy here and move the leg, and then the leg is going to still follow that pole vector. So I'm going to just undo this guy, bring it back to 0, and I'm going to do the same trick on the arms. So very quickly, create a constraint. Those I already did, I believe. Yep. So I'm going to create a constraint, the IK handle, from the shoulder to the wrist. That one is going to be the left arm IK handle. And then I'm going to create the same one for the other arm. That one's going to be right arm IK handle. And similarly that we did with the foot, this guy becomes a child of that one by just pressing P, and then this guy becomes a child of that one by pressing P. When I say P again, it's as if I just did edit parent. So you see that this guy here becomes a child of the controller, and you can go and test that one out to see how that affects the arm. If that affects your elbow, you do the same thing. You just simply create a locator, and that locator you just bring it to that elbow. I'm gonna call it right elbow pole vector. Let's call it PV just to simplify. I'm gonna just move it back. I'm sorry, let me just duplicate it first and do the other leg or the other elbow first. Holding V to make sure it's right there. Oh, it's in the wrong location. There we go. And this one's going to be the left elbow pole vector. And then you got a freeze transformations of that. I'm sorry, move it back first. Move both back a little bit, and then modify freeze transformations of those. And then you can create the constraint, the pole vector constraint. First the controller, then the IK handle constraint pole vector, and then this one is going to be constrained to that one, constraint pole vector. So now I have a way to manipulate my arm, and still the elbow is going to stay behind, or I can move the elbow and animate that whenever I need to pose it, so I can have the elbow point out or in if I need to. Okay, so I got most of it taken care of. I have foot, and you see that feet and elbows don't have they are not part of a hierarchy, but we need still to put everything under one main hierarchy so that the character is all put together in one piece. So I'm going to create one last locator. This one I'm going to keep it at the center of the world right there. I'm just simply going to scale it up. I'm going to call it main control, and the way that's going to go is that everything except for the geometry will go inside of it. Everything meaning all the controllers, and I'm going to go inside of that. So let me just go and grab this controller. It become a child of that main controller, just P, and then these locators, same with the ones for the elbows, and the wrist controllers will become all children of that main controller. That way, if I grab that, I should be able to move my whole rig and place it anywhere I want. I still can go and do it. The coolest thing about the IK handle is that now you can pose your character based on that IK handle. You can see that arms or legs stay in place and you can go move them whatever way you want. Alright, so with that we just simply need to finish it up. We're going to do that in the next video.